Hello and welcome to Newscentre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. China, keeping its stranglehold on rare earths, over which it holds a near monopoly, has kept several sectors on the edge. The Indian auto sector especially has already sounded the alarm bells, signalling that the export curbs imposed by China has the potential to bring production to a halt. An industry delegation is geared up to go to Beijing to engage with the Chinese leadership, but reports say they are yet to get an appointment. Sources tell us that the Indian embassy is actively engaging with China to expedite the rare earth licenses, even as the government looks to bolster the supply chain domestically. A report released by the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry in collaboration with Deloitte highlights that India has the potential to become a global leader in critical minerals by prioritizing sustainable practices, strategic investments and innovation-driven growth. However, it also highlights the challenges that are hindering the growth of the critical mineral sector in India. These include unavailability of quality reserves, difficulty in economic extraction, challenges in mine development, among others. What's the way ahead? To take this forward, I'm now joined by Arun Misra, CEO at Hindustan Zinc and Executive Director of Vedanta, also the chair of the FICCI Task Force on Critical Minerals, and also on the program is the co-chair of the FICCI Non-Ferrous Metals Committee, Subhrakant Panda. Subhrakant Panda is also the Managing Director of Indian Metals and Ferro Alloys. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Subhrakant Panda, if I can begin with you, is the current crisis urging companies like yours to possibly get into rare earths, look at ways where you can have a domestic supply chain when it comes to refining, assembling and end use of rare earth magnets?
Good evening, Parikshit. The short answer to your question is yes, because, as you know, we are a leading producer of ferroalloys in the country, and we also operate chrome ore mines. And therefore, mining being a critical skill that we have, it is but an obvious sort of a way forward for us to look at, how we can apply that knowledge into other areas. And critical minerals is certainly something that we would look at, especially given that things like nickel is known to occur along with chromite ore. But this is something that we have been considering for a while now. The present sort of crisis mode will undoubtedly give not just us but everybody else a fillip to look at what we can do. And even from a governmental perspective, there is obviously a lot of focus on ensuring that supply chains are secured, because the critical minerals and rare earth elements obviously have a wide range of applications. And as you correctly mentioned in your opening remarks, clearly, this is where China has an edge over the rest of the world in terms of the resources that they have access to. But that doesn't mean that India doesn't, because if I'm not mistaken, less than 20% of India's obvious geological potential has been explored. So there is a lot of work to be done in terms of exploring the reserves. Exploring India's landmass and offshore for potential reserves of various critical minerals and rare earths. And clearly, where we do have reserves, more work needs to be done to prove that to greater degree of certainty. For example, the RIAC deposits in Jammu. So these are just some of the steps that I think need to be taken, merely just sort of expedited because of where the world stands right now.
Right. Mr. Misra, coming to you, India holds the world's third largest reserves of rare earth elements, and rare earth reserves in India are estimated at 6.9 million metric tons. There was a high-level meeting held this week where the Minister for Mines and Minister for Heavy Industries looked at ways where we can incentivize the industry, probably have even PLI schemes to support the domestic supply chain for rare earth magnets. Currently, is there any capability to make rare earth magnets in India?
Let's separate these two parts. One is critical mineral, other is the rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals, which are required for magnets, which is again most important for our EV vehicles, permanent magnets, are all neodymium iron boron alloy. And the neodymium iron boron alloy, the most important metal is neodymium, which is found in two forms, whether it is bastnasite, which is non-radioactive, or monazite, which is radioactive. India is rich in monazite. Entire coast of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, parts of Odisha, beach sand is rich in monazite as well as ilmenite, which is for titanium. Now, this monazite in India has also got associated thorium. So, cleaning of this monazite, mostly it gets cleaned into chloride form, that is rare earth oxides are converted to rare earth chlorides. But it has to be separated from the radioactive thorium that is present in it. Handling of waste which is radioactive by nature becomes a challenge to us. And the technology from the rare earth chloride to the metal rare earth, which is neodymium, which is most important metal for forming rare earth magnets. That is challenging. That technology is in the hands of Japan and China as on today. If so, there are 2-3 parts to it, as Pandaji just said. First part, allowing monazite to be taken out of atomic mineral list and then opened up for private mining, investment for private companies into exploration, mining, and then technology, investment in technology for smelting it and forming metals. It's a costly process. A lot of subsidies or help from government of India is required. May need huge amount of investment as far as R&D is concerned, but it is worth doing, because if India has to become net zero by 2070, it cannot be done without having a grasp on or without having a hold on permanent magnet rare earth minerals, which are there in India, but the difficulty is in separation.
Right. But Mr. Misra, what I would also like to ask you is that currently the government is also looking if the capabilities of certain companies, PSUs in India, like GMDC, Gujarat Mineral Development Corporation, or India Rare Earth Limited, whether these companies can be leveraged to have a rare earth magnet supply chain. Could you give us a sense of what are the capabilities of these PSUs so far, and what can they really do and contribute in the present situation?
See, currently, Indian Rare Earth Company is already cleaning beach sand and bringing the rare earth oxides, forming them into chloride, and most of them getting exported. As far as private capital is concerned, to me, the opportunity that we are missing is aggressive exploration of finding out more rare earth minerals in inland or in the shorelines. And second is investment in smelting technology, R&D around how to separate the metal without forming radioactive waste, or how to handle the radioactive waste that the process will generate. If we don't do that, just by mining monazite and making chloride is not the solution for India. We have to find ways and means to form neodymium so that we can get into actually making permanent magnets, which is so essential for electric vehicles and other such applications.
Right. Mr. Panda, to get you in, so Mr. Misra pointed out a very complex procedure that we need to do. It's going to be expensive as well. How long is this road? And could you give us a sense of the kind of subsidy investments that this would require if we have to do it at a scale that is beneficial, that we can even start providing magnets to our domestic industry?
So, Parikshit, when as Mr. Misra correctly said, first of all, if you look at critical minerals and rare earth elements separately, the fact remains that there are many different types of rare earth elements, many of which are not even well known in terms of usage in the current scenario. So I think that's too broad a spectrum for me to probably lay out what sort of timelines or what sort of investments will be required. But I think suffice it to say that India has a lot of mining skill and mining knowledge, and we have to leverage that. We have to leverage that in multiple ways. I talked about bumping up the exploration that we do, incentivizing exploration. The government is looking to do that by, as you know, recently the NMAT levy has been increased from 2% to 3%, if I'm not mistaken. The idea is to incentivize more and more exploration. Beyond that, in another report that FICCI and Deloitte had done together in 2023, we had talked about leveraging Indian capital, leveraging Indian mining skills, and the relationships that we have with friendly nations to sort of be part of the supply chains when it comes to critical minerals. And again, in terms of technology, Some of these are fairly complex technologies where we'll have to look at sourcing that and tying up. But I think if I were to broadly break up into buckets of action, first and foremost, I think enhance significantly the exploration that we are doing within our territory, whether it is on land or offshore. Secondly, look at tying up with friendly nations and seeing how we can, with Australia, with the United States, discussions are at various stages. Maybe some initial investments I think have been made. That is what we have to look at. And just to give you an idea of the numbers, I mean, the National Critical Minerals Mission, which was announced some time ago, has an outlay of about 34,000 crores, which is quite a significant sum. And many of FICCI's recommendations in that report and in the one you're referring to right now have been acted upon by the government. And I believe that in due course, these will yield results.
Right. Mr. Misra, if I were to come to you now, we are talking to countries like Australia, even Peru for that matter, to see if we can have a critical mineral supply chain, maybe have some collaboration on rare earth minerals at that time. But currently, what we hear from various sources is that the government is considering PLI schemes, capital subsidies, subsidies on end use. According to you, what is the kind of government scheme or incentive which could possibly give a nudge to the industry to jumpstart and get into this sector?
It has to be a separate PLI scheme, just like they have launched critical mineral mission. For rare earth magnets, government needs to launch a separate corpus under PLI scheme, put a big number out there, something around 5,000 crores or something, and then invite private companies to get into exploration, keep aside some money for R&D on making the extraction of metal, because we know the process till formation of chloride or sulfide out of the rare earth oxides. After that, the metal extraction, ask private companies to get into R&D, put the R&D into, give them R&D subsidy from the corpus. And I'm sure in the manner of 4 to 5 years, having the talent in India, so much of metallurgists in India, such beautiful institutions, Indian Institute of Technologies, Indian Institute of Science, number of national metallurgical laboratories. There are so many scientists. We will be able to crack it. I don't see any challenge out there. It's just the need for the mission mode, put the money up front, and then bring private players into place, put a timeline of 4 to 5 years. I'm sure we'll be able to crack it.
Right, but that's the challenge, isn't it? Nothing can happen before the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to take time, and in the short term, there will be pain. Thank you very much, Mr. Panda. Thank you very much, Mr. Misra, for joining us on the program, giving us your view on a very tricky situation that we are facing, and companies are actually thinking of importing full assemblies rather than just the rare earth magnets from China. We are going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll get you more news from around the country and the world.